Welcome back to another week of NFL Power Rankings. Week 5 was a very fun week. We had some teams win their first game, we had some teams lose their first game, we had some big upsets, and we learned a lot about a lot of the teams in the NFL. Before we get into it, like and subscribe. So much content coming every week. The more you guys show support, the more content I'll make. And I love giving content to you guys, so let's get into it. Number 32, I have the New York Jets. They've yet to win a game, and for a franchise that's been at rock bottom since 2010 at this point, going on 15 years, this might be the worst season. Their defense has failed to generate a single turnover in 5 games. They've gotten blown out in most of their games. Justin Fields has not been the quarterback the Jets saw in week 1 for the past 2 games that he's played. And this Jets team is the worst team in football. And they go to London this week to play the Broncos, and it's likely not going to get better with this upcoming game. But the Jets, they just need to start potentially scouting out these 2026 quarterbacks because this team needs a fresh start. Number 31, I have the Miami Dolphins, who their only win right now is over the one team I have below them. Miami has just not looked good in many games. They blew the lead. Darren Waller's been the bright spot, though. He's been great in his 2 games. And this team is also another team that just needs a complete reset. Mike McDaniel's probably gone after the season, and there's just not much life in Miami. Number 30, I have the Giants. Jackson Dart did not have a good second game whatsoever, and they lost to a Saints team that I thought was the worst in football. And the Giants' future that looked very, very bright with Dart and Scadabo playing so well in week 4, it did not look great in week 5. And the question is, what team are we going to get for the rest of the season? That's why I have them so low. Number 29, I have the Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith leads the NFL in interceptions. He's not been the quarterback that the Raiders hoped he would be once they made that trade for him. Ashton Jeanty hasn't really done great outside that one game in week 4. And this offense has just not been too great. And their defense got absolutely destroyed by the Colts. The Raiders have just not looked good since their win in week 1, and there's lots of questions surrounding this team at this point in the year. Number 28, I have the New Orleans Saints. They move up 3 spots. They get their first win. Spencer Rattler with a solid performance, and the defense coming up with some key turnovers to help win this game. Kool-Aid McKinstry was great in this game, and the Saints get a win. And that's definitely something that is going to hopefully head this franchise in the right direction. Tennessee at 27, they pick up their first win. What a comeback, led by Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley. That offense looking alive in the second half, something it hadn't been the entire season. They pick up key turnovers. They got a couple bounces, but this Titans team needed that win, and they're hopefully going to start to build momentum off that win and maybe generate something special here as this team continues to grow. Number 26, I have the Browns. We didn't learn much. Dillon Gabriel was solid, not great. The defense was pretty good, letting up not too many points. It's just the offense didn't do enough. That's what we've seen out of the Browns this season. And Cleveland, kind of the same opinion on them going into week 6. Number 25, I have the Bengals. I kept them at 25 as well. It's the same thing that we've been seeing. The offense is not great. Jake Browning, 3 interceptions, and his stats look solid only because of garbage time. Cincinnati goes into the Packers and Steelers the next 2 weeks, and those are 2 teams that are playing pretty well at this point in the year. So the Bengals need to start generating some offense when it matters, and their defense has been playing solid, and the defense and the offense just need to combine for a complete game, something we haven't seen at this point in the season. Number 24, I have the Arizona Cardinals. They dropped 2 spots, and just a really, really bad loss. One that's going to be indicating what the Cardinals really are. Mercado drops the ball before he goes in the end zone. They give up a silly touchdown when they intercept it, fumble, kick the ball, and all of a sudden it ends up in their end zone. And Arizona is just a team that I don't think is very good. Their 2-0 start seemed a little fraudulent to me, and it's obviously shown by their 3-game slide. Baltimore is an interesting team. I have them at 23. They're very injured. They're losing a lot of their starters at this point in the year. Lamar Jackson was out this week, but maybe the worst Ravens loss in a long time this past week against the Texans. This Ravens team, it's getting late very fast. They play the Rams this week, another game that if they don't have Lamar Jackson, it's going to be very similar to what happened this past weekend. And if this team goes in there by 1-5, I think the Ravens are done. And this is the team I'd winning the Super Bowl. I'm going to do a video on the Ravens, diving more into them at some point this week. But the Ravens, definitely a team that we did not expect to be this low. Number 22, I have the Carolina Panthers, who their record should be 2-3, right there, but they pick up the win over the Miami Dolphins. Bryce Young with some key plays, J.C. Horn with a great play, and Carolina just positive reaction after this game, feeling a lot similar to how they felt after their win over the Falcons. Carolina starting to generate something. This young team has potential. Number 21, I have the Houston Texans, who pick up the win over the Ravens. Their best offensive performance so far. The whole offense was firing on all cylinders. And this is the Texans team that we've been seeing the past 2 years in the beginning of CJ Stroud's career. And they go into their bye on a positive note. And the AFC South is so competitive this year, something that it hadn't been for the past 2 years. The Texans are going to need to start stringing together wins. And coming out of their bye, hopefully they can do just that. Number 20, I have the Falcons. They were on bye this past week. Not much changing about them. And similarly with the Chicago Bears, they were also on bye this past weekend. Number 18, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who dominate the New York Jets offensively. Dak Prescott with another stellar game. One of the best statistical quarterbacks at this point in the year. And their defense played maybe their best game so far against the Jets. Only letting the Jets get back into the game in garbage time when it didn't matter. And Dallas, just another complete football game. And Dallas is looking like a potential sleeper team in the NFC. Number 17, I have the Minnesota Vikings. I dropped them a spot even though they won. Really, we've learned a bit more about this team. Carson Wentz is not too great. This Vikings offense is just not as good as it was last year with Sam Darnold. And J.J. McCarthy, I think, will be back after their bye in Week 6. And Minnesota's a team that there's lots of question marks. Their defense is solid, but the offense really isn't there. They're lucky to be 3-2 to start the year, but going to need to be better after their bye week. Number 16, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They're 2-3. This is the biggest drop I've had, I think, the whole season. I dropped them 11 spots. Kansas City is in trouble. The next 6 weeks, they play 5 teams that are in my top 10. And I think those are games that this version of Kansas City could potentially all lose. Kansas City, I don't know if this team is going to make the playoffs this year. This is the team that's won the AFC 3 years in a row. Patrick Mahomes has been good. Their defense cannot come up with a key stop. And it's just a shell of themselves. And Kansas City, in an easy AFC, is looking like a team that could potentially miss the postseason. Number 15, I have the Seattle Seahawks. I dropped them 4 spots just because of movement, but really the same. Sam Darnold is excellent. JSN is a top 3 receiver in football. The defense needed to be better, but they were missing a lot of their secondary. Another prove-it game against Jacksonville this upcoming weekend. If Seattle wins that game, I'm back on the Seattle train. But for now, I've dropped them 4 spots to 15. Number 14, I had the New England Patriots. I moved them up 7 spots. And this is the New England team that I predicted to win, to make the playoffs and win 10 games going into this season. Drake May was excellent against Josh Allen, outdueling Josh Allen, who's been the best quarterback in football this year. And this New England team, in a weak AFC, I think has the tools to be a playoff team and to potentially contend with the Bills, because we just saw it. They just beat the Bills. This Patriots team is good and definitely a team to watch out for as they continue to grow this season. 13 is the Chargers, and this is a team that I'm sounding panic alarms on. Justin Herbert is not the same without Joe Alt or Rashawn Slater protecting him. This Chargers team did not produce offensively. Amari and Hampton's hurt now. They're going down to a 3rd-string running back. The Chargers have lots of panic at this point in the season. and they're not the same team that 2 weeks ago started off 3-0. Number 12, I have the LA Rams, and I dropped them 8 spots just because of lots of wins by teams towards the top. But the Los Angeles Rams pick up a key, uh, well, not a key stat, but Puka Nacua has been the best receiver in football. Matthew Stafford's been damn near the best quarterback in football. They just can't make the big play when it matters. LA ends up losing this game, and it's another game where LA should have won. And that's the theme of this season. They should have won the 2 games that they've lost, but this LA team is still really good, and I think they will pick it up. Number 11, I have the San Francisco 49ers, who jump up 4 spots, beating the Rams, who I had at 12. And lots of people are going to have this Niners team higher than I do. I still don't believe in this Niners team to be a true NFC contender, but Mac Jones has looked excellent since taking over the starting job in wake of Brock Purdy's injury. And they've been winning without almost every offensive starter other than McCaffrey. McCaffrey's having an excellent year. San Francisco is just a team that I'm shocked by the results at this point, and I'm not yet convinced. They play Tampa Bay this week. If they win, I'll finally jump on this Niners team being a contender. Number 10 is the Jaguars, a team that I am now on the train. Jacksonville is an excellent football team. Their defense is great. Their offense is just multifaceted in many ways. Trevor Lawrence has the key drive when it matters, and this Jacksonville team is looking like the Jacksonville team we saw in the beginning of 2023 and in 2022. And the Jaguars are back, and in a competitive AFC South, they needed to be. They pick up their marquee win over the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 9, I have the Washington Commanders. They jump up 5 spots. They pick up a huge win. They obviously miss Jaden Daniels. He comes back and balls out. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt was great. Everybody was great. It was an ultimate team victory, something that the Commanders did so much last season, and they're looking like the same team. And can they get to that next level is what I'm awaiting to see. Number 8, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were on bye. And for the Steelers, the AFC North is just a disaster at this point. The Bengals and Ravens are just too injured to compete, and the Browns are just the Browns. So the Steelers should walk to a division title this year. And the Steelers are good enough to keep winning football games. The Packers were also on bye this past week. They have a easier stretch coming up, playing a lot of teams below 500. Can the Packers pick up the wins against teams that they should be beating is the main question. Number 6, I had the Denver Broncos. Nick Bonito is a monster on the D-line. This offense is great to watch. The Broncos are better than they were last year. This Broncos team is 2 plays away from being 5-0. Very similar to what I said for the Rams. This Broncos team is better than what their record indicates, and that's why I have them at number 6. Number 5, the Indianapolis Colts. They're currently the 1 seed in the AFC. Nobody would have thought that. This offense is just fun to watch, man. Daniel Jones is great. Jonathan Taylor's up to new levels this year. Tyler Warren is great. They have a bunch of guys who can catch the ball, and this defense turns over the ball. Everything indicative of a contender, and the Colts I think they're going to keep winning football games. They're just looking really good 5 weeks in. The Buccaneers I have at number 4. Emeka Egbuka is potentially better than Puka was as a rookie, maybe one of the better rookie receivers of all time. He just came into this Tampa Bay offense and just taken over the wide receiver 1 role and putting up good game after good game. Baker Mayfield with big drive after big drive. And this Tampa team is looking really, really good and looking like a real contender in the NFC at this point in the year. Buffalo, I dropped them a spot for their loss. Buffalo, I'm not too worried. A couple bad fumbles in that game is the reason they lost. And Buffalo just needs to be better. They know they're better. They know they're the best team in the AFC at this point. They just got to play like it, and we did not see that. But in the first 4 weeks, we did. So that they're still a top 3 team in football. Number 2, I have the Eagles. Very similar. They are the defending champs for a reason. They were winning football games the first 4 weeks of the year, and they just blow it against the Broncos. I still don't think the Eagles are that bad. I think they're still amazing. Jalen Hurts just needs to be better. The passing offense just needs to be better. Overall, this offense just needs to be better. And the Eagles have time. I think their offense will definitely wake up. Number one, the Detroit Lions. They're back at number one this year. They were a number one team for me for a lot of last season, and now they're back to number one. Their offense is just incredible. Losing Ben Johnson did not mean much. They just dominate the Bengals offensively in this one, and their defense, turnover after turnover against the Bengals, just a complete dominant football game from the Lions. And this team, after stumbling week one, has won 4 in a row and looks like the best team in the NFL. But that's going to do it for this week of Power Rankings. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you disagree with me, comment down below, and I will see you guys in next video.